Hello and welcome to oliveboard platform and very good afternoon to all of you. Hi, good afternoon everyone. I hope so I'm audible properly. Am I? Please let me know in the comment section. There's no issue, no glitch. Okay, so in your previous class, we have discussed a very important chapter that was inflation, right? We have discussed the type of inflation, the causes of inflation, the method to control, and we have also discussed some indices for which are used to measure the inflation part, right? Now, in today's class, we have to move forward, and in today's class, we are going to discuss the national income, right? So if we talk about the in the pre-independence in India, the first estimation for national income made by Dadabhai Naroji, right, around in 1868 year, the year time was okay. Basically he wrote a book that was a British rule of India. Sometimes the question arises from this book only. They have discussed this estimation of they have discussed this estimation of national income in this book, right? After the independence, basically the government of India appointed a proper national committee, we can say the National Income Committee, in the August 1949. So this was a scenario of pre-independence. Okay. And in the post independence, so pre Dadabhai Naroji was the first who calculate this national income. Post independence, in August 1949, the government of India made a one committee named National Income Committee, right? And this particular National Income Committee got the chance to create the India's national income, also to create the report on the same topic, right? Actually, this committee was consist of very prominent persons. For example, PC Manlobis, Dr. Godgill. So these prominent personalities actually took participate in the national income's first committee, right? And they have submitted, basically they submitted their report in around 1954 to government of India. So this was the start. Hi, very good afternoon. So this was the start of national income. Okay, now let's talk about the very basic part of national income. For example, if I ask you, just leave the national income concept right now. If I asked you, what is your family income, or how will you calculate this family income? Definitely you will calculate the family income by choosing a person who are earning some amount in your family, right? For example, your father, your mother, brother, and one sister, and you, okay, is earning. So your father income is rupee 100 for an example. Mother income is also 90 rupees, or we can calculate as 100 rupees. Okay. Your brother's income is right now 50 rupee. Your sister income is 20. Your income is right now 0. What will be your family income? 100 plus 200, 250, 270. This will be your family income. That means what you have done, you have just calculate the income of your family members, and this will create your family income. Same thing we actually applied on a national income. So what we do in a national income, so basically the national, that means a nation, that means a country, right? Okay, so this is your country, and in this country there's a lot of citizens living. There's a lot of citizens actually residing. So if a particular country is going to calculate our national income, what they will do, they will take the income of a citizens, per citizens income, just add those citizens income, and it will reflect the national income, just like a family income, right? But we cannot calculate it directly because there's a lot of factor effect. For example, this person is a foreigner, right, who is living in India. Now his income is not considered as a family, as a national income. For example, this person's shifted to US later on and now earning in US. Now this person's salary or the income will calculate it the national income. So these are the different factors actually affecting the national income part. Clear, everyone? Okay. Now let's discuss about the measurements or measures of national income. See here. So if we talk about the concept of national income, there are various concepts of national income. These are the various metrics used to measure national income in an economy. These are explained. For example, just consider stuck to the four important factors. So, first is GDP, the gross domestic product. Second is NDP, net domestic product. GNP, gross national product. NNP, net national product. Clear? These are the four very important factors which we use to measure the national income of India or the country. Clear? Now, what are these factors? See here. First of all, let's talk about the GDP, the gross domestic product. And before discuss the gross domestic product actually, let's consider what is the basic difference between the gross and the net. These two words will definitely reflect in the national income continuously. So first of all, let's consider this. Okay. So the gross means the total amount. Okay. Net means total amount minus depreciation is defined a net amount. For example, someone in your family or someone is there. For example, one relative is going to be ask you, what is your salary? And a person reply, it's 50,000. But actually, the in-hand amount is a 50,000. No, because as you know, there's a lot of deductions in a company head, right? For example, there's a 10% of TDS, there's a 10% of or 5% of a different kind of deductions, right? So if you are not deducting anything, it will shows you a gross amount. And for example, that person's gross salary is 50K, but the in hand amount is around 43K. So this is your gross. That means the total amount. Nothing is going to be depreciated, nothing is going to be substituted. But in a net case, you have to minus the oh my god, you have to minus the depreciation, which will give you a actual condition of a particular income, right? So on paper it is usually it is mentioned as a gross, but actually in hand it is net. Are you getting the difference or basic difference of gross and the net part? Please let me know quickly. Okay. Please give me a doubt issues of gross and net in a comment box especially. Okay. Now, moving ahead. Now, let's discuss the four factors especially. So, whenever, if it is writing it like a GDP, that means gross, or NDP, that means net. I think you are getting a word, right? GDP is giving you a total amount. And N stand, that means net. We have to depreciate something. Now, let's discuss a very important factor. The first factor is GDP or gross domestic product. This is the economic compensation of all items and services generated in a domestic sector over the course of a year with the available resources. Leave it. GDP and DP. Now here you have already have an idea regarding the gross and the net. D stand for domestic, okay, and N stand for national. Okay, let's understand the meaning of these words because the factor will be more easier after this. Domestic means a boundary kind of thing. Boundary, that means a particular limited area, right? Boundary is the exact word for the domestic part, right? Because we are talking about the nations or national income, that means we are talking about the India's national income, right? So the boundary we will consider of which country? Obviously Indian country. So the Indian country's boundary is the meaning of domestic, right? National means nation. Nation means a person who is living in a country. A person who is living in a country means a citizen. So national means citizen. That means in a case of NNP or GNP, we have to consider a person income who is the citizen of India. Now, moving to the next part, and I hope so it would be more easy to understand. Gross domestic product. Gross is total. Domestic means boundary. Product means services and product. Definitions. In a 1 year, the value of product and the value of service in a Indian boundary in a financial year So, for example, in a one financial year, or in a financial year, any product, any services value which is occurred in our Indian boundary area, okay, will be covered in a GDP section. For an example, let's take a family A, family B, family C in a water boundary. Just a minute, guys. So in a financial year, there's a family B, A or C. This is a water boundary, right? Here, one family is also living, D. One family is living here and earning their basically services and product they are selling, E. Okay, now a one foreigner family, that means X, A, is living here in Indian boundary. There's a one more foreigner family is also living here in Indian boundary. For example, we have a Apple or iPhone outlet here. That means XC, XD. Okay, this is a mixture of Indian part. Now we have to calculate the GDP. So GDP definition is saying any product and services which is the value of any product and services which is an Indian boundary in a financial year gives you a GDP. For example, this is a foreign part, and in this foreign part, one Indian family is living here. One Indian family is living here. Okay, now if we are talking about the domestic, first of all, just keep this word in your mind, that is domestic. Domestic means you have to keep in mind your boundary part. Any person who is living in India and earning an amount, that product and service cost will be covered in a GDP. There's nothing matter a person is a citizen of India or not. For example, we will calculate the salary or the any product and service cost of family B. Okay, we will also consider the income of family D. We will also consider the income of X, A, B and C. But we will not consider the income of any Indian family who is residing outside the India. We will not consider as their income as a GDP. Clear, everyone? Are you getting the concept or not? Just let me know quickly. Financial year means 1st April to 31st March. From 1st April to 31st March, any product and service cost which is growing in Indian boundary will be considered as GDP. Clear? Okay. Now, for example, in a water boundary, we have some limitations, right? That means, can you tell me how many nautical miles will be considered as Indian boundary? How many nautical miles will be considered as Indian boundary? Please answer. Indian boundary. Can you tell me? Anyone? Huh? अरे बाबा बोलने का 18 nautical miles. Okay. So in what, as you already know, that India is actually surrounded by a three site with a water boundary. One is Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean, right? So up to the 18 nautical miles, the boundary will be considered as Indian boundary. So for example, at the last point, someone is selling their product or someone is selling their service at this level of point, its income will be considered as GDP. Clear? Now you can read the definition, so you'll have some idea. See, this is the economic compensation on item product generated in the domestic sector. That means the Indian boundary part over the course of a year or over a financial year with available resources. So GDP is equals to price of services and goods into quantity of services and goods which is in domestic country part. Clear, everyone? Clear or not? No idea, ma'am. No issues. This GDP part is clear, guys, or not? Now, let's talk about the NDP. NDP. So what is NDP? It is very simple. As I have already told you, what is the gross and what is the net. So this is the net form. This is the net form of GDP. Can we write it like this? It is a net form of gross domestic product. That means what will be the formula? NDP is equals to GDP minus depreciation. Each and everything will be okay, will be same like our GDP, but we have to depreciate amount. For example, there's a one factories, you'll have a one factory A, है ना? You have a one factory B here in a Indian boundary. Now if you are putting some amount in your factory, for example, your expenses to purchase a raw material, for example, a one machinery is just got stuck or break down, you have to put some amount in that machinery too, you have to give your wages too, you have to fill your taxes too, right? So these are the depreciation in a case of GDP or NDP. So when you are minusing or just subtracting your depreciation part from the GDP, it will shows you a NDP, which is the reality. Clear? For example, 50,000 on paper, in hand 43,000. What is the reality? 43,000 is the reality, right? Clear? NDP. This is your net domestic product. Everyone, please let me know in the comment section the GDP concept and then NDP concept is clear to you. And whatever the content is releasing by the government of India, actually there's a list which is issued by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which giving you an idea regarding the product depreciation, right? You have we have a list of product wise depreciation. So when we depreciate that particular amount, which is already published by the government of India, we can find the NDP. Clear? Okay. NDP explain net domestic product. See, just leave the net part. Okay. It is simply the domestic product. What is the domestic? Domestic is a boundary. Product is product and service. So in a one financial year, any product and services which is growing in Indian boundary is termed as GDP. Now just minus the depreciation and you will have the NDP part. NDP shows you the reality, whereas the GDPs give you an just total or somewhat imaginary data, we can say. Clear? Okay. Now, let's move to the third factor which we have is gross national product or GNP. Same, each and everything. The gross and the net concept will be same. Instead of domestic, we have a new word, that is national. What is the meaning of national? The meaning of national is a citizen. Any Indian citizen. In a one financial year, any citizen of India is selling their product and services, value will define you the GNP. Now, what are the major changes? So, in a GDP, we are each and everything we are calculating which is growing in an Indian boundary, right? Whether that product is growing by a foreigner, but if the product is growing in an Indian boundary, we will consider the income in GDP. But that foreigner is a citizen of India? No. So now his or her income will not be calculated in a GNP. Why? Because GNP stands for gross national product. In that case, if a Indian citizen is growing a product and giving a value of any product and service in a one financial year, will be considered as a GNP. So, for example, this is an Indian boundary. Okay, this is a foreign boundary. This is a foreign boundary. Okay, this is a Indian foreign. Okay, here a one foreigner living here, one Indian is also living here and doing their business or services. One foreigner living here, just take a single example. One foreigner, one Indian. Now, one foreigner, C, and one Indian living here, one Indian living here. Now, whose income will be calculated in GNP? First of all, to calculate the GNP, please consider a person should be belongs to a particular country or a person should be Indian for the GNP. Okay, because it's saying in a one financial year, a citizen of India is growing or giving a value of any product or service, that value will be considered as GNP. Now, any Indian who is doing his business in Indian boundary and this person is also an Indian, his income will be count in GNP, right? This is a foreigner who is living in India and also growing a one product and doing a business. Now, his income will not be considered in GNP. Why? Because he doesn't have the citizenship of India, right? His income will be considered in GDP. Why? Because he's growing her or his business in an Indian boundary. So we will calculate in a GDP, but we will not calculate in a GNP, because for calculating in GNP, the citizenship is required. Clear? Now, see here, there's a foreign land, right? There's a foreign person who's living in a foreign boundary. We don't have to calculate each and everything in a foreign case. This is an Indian who is living in foreign land or a foreign boundary, but he's a citizen of India. So his income we will calculate in a GNP. His income will not be calculated in GDP. Why? Because he's not living in Indian boundary. Okay. This is Indian, right, who is living outside the India but is still growing a product or service. His income will calculate in GNP. His income will not calculate in GDP. Are you getting the difference between the GDP, between the domestic and the national part? Now, please answer. Sorry. So, if we talk about the proper definition of GNP, it should be, so it is a form of, it is a GDP of a country added with income from abroad. For example, just take in formula of GDP, GNP again. So GNP is equals to GDP minus X plus M. I'm just taking as random values. Now X is the income of foreigners who are living in India, because their income will be calculated in a GDP, right? But what we are calculating? GNP. So we have to minus that income which is coming from the foreigners who are living in India, right? And we have to add income of Indians who are living outside India. Getting my point? I'm just taking a random calculation. So this will create your formula. Income under Indian boundary, GDP. Income of Indian citizen wherever he's come in GNP. Exactly. This is a summarized part. Clear? Or GNP always shows you the strength of the economy. GNP indicates what? So GNP indicates the strength of economy. Clear? Everyone? Right? I hope so you would be more able to calculate the, if I talk about the NNP, definitely you can give me an answer. NNP. What will be minus? Depreciation. The formula is GNP minus depreciation is equals to NNP. The net national product. No, we can write it like this or not. Or you can also write it like NNP is equals to GDP plus income from abroad GDP plus income from abroad minus depreciation. In case if you find out options like this. Otherwise, this is the simplest form. Okay? And NNP is considered as the purest form of national income. This is the purest form because this will give you exact idea or the reality of a country that this is a NNP and this is the reality. Okay? Clear everyone? So these are the 4 factors. If you find any issues in a 4 factors, please let me know quickly. We have started from gross domestic product. Just keep in mind the meaning of gross is total. Domestic is the Indian boundary. है ना? Net domestic, keep in mind net is a depreciation. That means if you minus the depreciation from the GDP, it will give you the net form of GDP. Gross national product. National is a citizen. So GDP of a country added with the income of abroad. NNP, GNP minus depreciation gives you an NNP, which is the purest form. Any issues right now or till now? Okay, now moving to the next part, just read the definition so that it will give you exact idea. Gross national product, that is GNP. See, the total market value of a final product and services produced by citizen of a country, okay, in a given year, both domestically and abroad. Okay, the entire value of product and service generated by all people of a country, regardless of where they live, is referred as a GNP. Here's a formula. Gross national product is equals to GDP plus net factor income from abroad or income from abroad. Net national product, NNP is the market worth of economy's net yield of final product and services created over the course of a year or a financial year, as well as the net expected income from the overseas. NNP is equals to GNP minus depreciation. Now, let's talk about the per capita income, or you can call it as a income per head per year. Income per head per year. It is an exactly imaginary data. See why? This is a computed by dividing a country's national income by its whole population. So the formula will be, so basically the per capita income of a country is calculated by dividing the NNP by the total population. So if you divide the NNP, net national product, divided by population, it will give you the per capita income. That means a person is living, or any citizen who is residing in a country can earn a 12 rupees or 10 rupees every month. How is it possible? Someone is earning a 12 rupees in a per day, someone is earning or making a 1200 per day. So that is why I have told you that per capita income is somewhat a imaginary data we can use. But yes, for our competitive exam, the formula is important. So the formula is NNP divided by population, or whatever you want, or the part of NNP when it is divided by the population part, it gives you an idea regarding the per capita income. Clear? Any doubts here? Okay, now let's. Okay, now let's consider the national income. Basically, the national income is calculated on two cost criteria. The first is national income at market price and the national income at factor cost. See, so whenever the national income is calculated, or anything we can call it, when the income is estimated as the sum total income is estimated as sum total amount, or basically the total of market value that means final good. Okay, market value, or you can call it as a final good. It is the income at the income price is called. Or if we talk about the national income at factor cost, sometime they can initiate a question like this: factor cost, otherwise there will be no questions like this. So on the other hand, the national income is estimated as a sum total of factor income. Income is estimated is called the factor cost. So this is a single definition of national income at market price and national income at factor cost. Okay, now there's a one who calculate GDP. So actually there's a one data which is released by about the national income data, which is released by CSO, the Central Statistical Office, right? And then after the government of India and some amount of RBI calculate the GDP part. Okay, see the CSO part. Office. So basically, this CSO gives the national income data, or the CSO gives the data on national income. Okay, it was established in 1951. Data of national income. Is it stuck or what? Just a minute. CSO. Okay. See, the factor cost basically whatever is generated within the domestically territory of a country is termed as the factor cost. Somewhat they also use factor cost in NNP, or factor cost of NNP you asking? Market price minus indirect tax plus subsidiaries. This is the factor cost of NNP. Like at 10th or 11th syllabus, we are not basically in our competitive exam, there's no need to calculate the each factor cost and the market price national income, because we don't have any sums or numericals type of question in our exams. Clear? Okay, so here we have completed this session, everyone. Okay, so this is your chapter complete. Now moving to the next topic in your next class. Till then, thank you so much. Bye bye, take care, and don't forget to give a feedback. Bye and thank you.